wonderful wonders of the internet. Today we're taking the Mario out of paper mache and seeing if we can beat the game using only partners. The rules are simple. Mario is banned from jumping, hammering, or using star powers or items that do damage to enemies. What is allowed is any partners and partner abilities, as well as star powers and items that don't do damage, and stuff like defending and appealing. I'm hoping with these rules we get to interact a little more with the status system, because I've got the new 1000 New Door bestiary with me at my side that'll tell me what all the enemy weaknesses are. And I don't know where I got it, so don't bother asking. I just showed up one day. I don't know, it's weird. And with that out of the way, let's answer the question, can you beat the Paper Mario 1000 New Door remake without ever using Mario?
Let's go!
Fresh off the boat, we're hit with the tutorial fight against Crump, who I'm convinced is just Wario in disguise. I mean, look at his bulbous shape, the elf shoes, and doesn't that hat look a little bit familiar? But back to the fight, it's, impossible. Since we can't jump or hammer, the only way of damaging Crump is super guarding. So I'm gonna say at this point in the run that super guarding isn't attacking, but it's defending, so it's fine. But we'll try not to abuse it too much in the future. So bip, bop, boom, bam, slam. 5 super guards later, and Crump is down. And we finally get Goombella and are ready to face anything. Oh no. Well, spike enemies are definitely still a problem, but fortunately Gus is optional, so we can come back to him later. And Spike Goombas only have 2 health, so super guarding isn't too bad. Technically, we could super guard Gus 20 times, but no thanks, I'm not doing that. You don't want to see that, that's just boring. We can come back with Koops. Luckily, most enemies at this point are so low on health that they can just be swept with items, or they only deal 1 damage, so with a guarding Mario, we're invincible without even blocking or super guarding. There is a slight problem when we get to this tutorial with Goombella where she forces us to use the hammer, but hey, if we miss the action command, we don't deal damage because the Koopa has 1 defense, so I'd say we're good to go. And we had a little scare with Goombella down to 1 HP in the Fuzzy Horde fight, but it's fine, I had a mushroom, it's no big deal. And with relative ease, thanks to the power of items and super guarding, we get to Koops and enter Hooktail Castle. And thus we get to our second mini-boss, Redbones. Mr. Softener here makes quick work of him by lowering his defense down to 0 for 3 turns. Incredible effect, a weird name, I don't like this guy, he looks like he's up to something. The rest of the dungeon is pretty straightforward until we get to Hooktail, which of course I had a lot of trouble with. Hooktail is usually a pushover thanks to the sound effects badge that lowers his attack to 3 and defense to 0, but we can't use that badge because the only way to use it is to use Mario's hammer. So we're stuck fighting a boss with 30 health, 5 attack, and 1 defense. Yikes! Koops only has 10 health and 1 defense at this point, so he can only withstand 3 whole attacks from Hooktail, and we need to last 10 times that length. So we better get our super guards on point if we're going to make it through this fight. Luckily we have Mario use Sweet Treat to heal him up in between turns, but Koops got down to 1 health at one point and things were looking pretty bleak. But with a clutch bingo at the end, we took down Hooktail with only Koops. Whew! That was definitely way harder than any first boss has any right being, and has me just a little worried about the bosses ahead. But hey, the old man pops out, gives us the crystal star, yada yada story stuff, but whatever, we don't really care about it. We gotta get to this fence, because behind this fence is Mega Rush P, our new best friend. This badge raises our partner's attack by 5 when their health is down to 1, which is absolutely insane for this point in the game. Back in Rogueport, we easily sweep Gus with Koops and head straight to Chapter 2. Where we find the annoying Cleft enemy, who have so much defense, and again, I forgot to buy Mr. Softener, so we're just gonna super guard him because they only have 2 health, and super guarding's pretty easy on these slower enemies. When we get to the Shadow Sirens fight, I go for a Mini Mr. Mini, which lowers their attacks by 2 power, which essentially makes their attack 0, so goodbye Shadow Sirens, that's an easy sweep. We get our third partner Flurry and head to the Great Tree where we find our next turtle, a Yuxes. We can only defeat Yuxes on the first turn, or they can never be defeated because of the mini Yux they spawn, which gives them a shield, which makes them impervious to attacks, and they spawn every single turn. And since we only have enough damage output to get rid of the mini Yux and not hit the actual Yux afterwards on the same turn, we are absolutely screwed if they ever spawn these mini Yuxes. So we just have to instantly KO them. But what if there's more than one? Well, that's where our friend Gale Force comes into play. Yes, this just might be the most broken ability in the game. It instantly KOs most enemies with a high chance of succeeding. Here's the likelihood of blowing away all the enemies in this chapter. You can see it's insanely good, and we will certainly be using it plenty in the future. After some puny puzzle solving, it's boss time, and it's another doozy with an annoying defense stat of 1, 30 HP, and 2 attack from the body, and 4 attack per hand. But now we have Goombella upgraded, so instead of dealing 1 damage, we can deal a whole whopping 2 damage per turn. Let's go, only 15 turns to survive. But those hand rockets are a serious problem. So I decide instead of taking them out, I go for a Dizzy Dial Gambit, and through some miracle luck we hit the boss and both hands, which only has a 32% chance of happening, but hey, we take those. Goombella gets down to danger territory, but instead of healing, I know that with my last stand badge and some proper blocking, I'll get right down into Mega Rush territory, boosting our attack per turn from 2 damage to a whopping 12 damage. And then my brain really kicked in when I realized, oh, I can just control how much I heal by using Sweet Treat. And oops, I healed 4 health instead of 3, but I guess I'll just not block 1 attack, and haha, back in Mega Rush territory to finish off the boss. All according to my perfectly calculated plan. Before going into Chapter 3, we check out what Dazzle has for sale, and hoo-wee, is that a Power Plus P you got for me? Now all our partners get a power increase of 1. And not even 5 minutes after entering Glitz Pits, we open a chest and sweet Lord have mercy, that's 2 Power Plus Ps in a row. We're really cooking now. With so many Power Pluses, I don't even think I need to mess with Mega Rush shenanigans, but I still have a few concerns with this chapter, and that's the match conditions. I had a vague memory of one that didn't let you use your partners, but when I finally hit that condition, the wording wasn't don't use your partner, it just says don't damage enemies with your partner. So you may wonder, how do we beat enemies without damaging them? Well, may I remind you of our best friend Gale Force, which simply lets us blow away enemies without dealing any damage and nets us the win. So long, magical bud. And just when I was patting myself on the back for feeling so smart, out comes Bowser and I forgot about this battle and I'm looking a little low on health and FP. But hey, it's nothing our buddy Mr. Mini can't handle, as we shrink Bowser's 3 attack to a measly 1. And we got a Mr. Softener for good measure to get rid of that pesky defense, and just like that, Goombella cleans up this fight no problem. And then we get to the bosses. Rock Hawk isn't too much trouble thanks to the Power Pluses, and when he hops up into the rafters, we sick Flurry on him for a little bit of smooching time.
Oh boy, smooching time!
For Grubba, we just hop on the Goombella Pain Train doing 8 damage per turn with a little help from Power Punch that gives us +2 attack for 2 turns to speed things up. But of course, Grubba goes dodgy and we waste some Powerhouse turns, also getting Mr. Softener out to undo his defense buffs. Seriously, items in this game are so underrated, I'm realizing. But Grubba responds with his attack buff of his own, and things look pretty dicey when Mario's down to only 4 health, but thankfully, we have exactly enough damage to finish Grubba off. Whew! Entering Chapter 4, enemy health bars start to get pretty high, like 8 health is way more than we can do even with our 2 Power Pluses, but luckily Gale Force is still at insta-kill like 90% of the time, so we are so good. Luckily we didn't run into any Amazy Daisies in the forest, because those would have totally destroyed us. Like, actually one-shot Mario, probably. Dupless was a pushover, as, you know, he's supposed to be, but then we get to the most worrisome part of this chapter, maybe even the whole game. We don't have partners at all anymore, which obviously means we can deal no damage except through super guarding. But luckily for us, there's no required fights until you get Vivian. But I also just realized I can't go through the pipe, so I can't level up Vivian. So we have to beat Dupless again with just base Vivian. Only 15 health and a measly 4 damage. And after going through all the shenanigans to guess Dupless's name and avoiding backtracking thanks to this handy pipe they added in the remake that goes straight to the steeple, we have to face off against Dupless once more. But hey, wait, what are these silly ghosts doing? Get them off me! Yeah, oh, I guess we're taking a little detour. The Atomic Boo has the same health and attack as Dupless, but we just pretty much wail on him with Shade Fist until he goes down. And hey, would you look at that? We only have 1 health. How convenient for the upcoming boss fight. Mega Rush go brrrr. So straight into the boss we go. Let's cook this guy. Wait, where's Vivian? Oh, yeah, she leaves. Guess we gotta just survive for a little while here. Luckily, Mario just defending leads us to taking minimal damage, although I miss a lot of the super guards, so thank goodness Vivian doesn't take too long to come back. And now, all we gotta do is use the same tactics we did on the Chapter 2 boss by using Sweet Treat to keep Vivian just high enough to go right back into peril on the next turn. And oops, I had a poison mushroom, and oops, I healed too much, and oops, I missed again. And by the fourth time, though, we get it right and we slam Dupless down. A little touch and go, considering if Vivian would have died, we'd be toast. But hey, we made it just barely. After learning the sad tale of Bobbery, we set sail to Chapter 5 and are immediately shipwrecked, lose, and then reunite with Bobbery, and get the best party member of the whole game, Flavio. And at last, it's time to enter the Pirate's Grotto. By the way, normal enemies aren't really a problem anymore, so I'm not going to mention them unless it's unique, like, oh god, all the bombs are on fire, thank Lord for Sleepy Sheep, or that explosion would have definitely finished me off. And just like that, we're already at Cortez, with pretty much the same badge setup as before. I looked up his moves, but he has like 10 moves, so it's too confusing, we're just gonna wing it. We try some multi-bonks, but I am so atrocious at this action command that I just switched to normal head bonks to stay a little more consistent. He gets all glowy, but hey, damage just makes me stronger, so we barely tank the hit, activating Power Rush, which gives us 10 damage per turn. And just the final phase remains, and with 20 health, all we gotta do is survive one turn after our attack. So you know it's time for some item shenanigans. We pull out a rune powder to cause confusion, and we hit everything except for one sword, winning a lot of dice rolls. Let's go! Oh, and an audience member also makes us invisible, just to be sure we don't lose. And one last head bonk to finish off Cortez, and honestly, not too bad at all. Although I really gotta learn my multi-bonk action commands or come up with another strategy. But we're not done yet. An impromptu pirate battle takes place, and we must duke it out with Crump. And I stumbled around in this fight a fair bit because I wasn't really paying attention, but Crump frees for 2 whole turns, so I guess we just take the free win. Oh wait, he's healing. Gosh dang it, I forgot about that too. Well, maybe the stopwatch can save us? Nope, we miss. Maybe we can get into Mega Rush range. Oh god, they're dead. Okay, Koops, you better clean this up because I can't believe I'm losing to Crump. I better start thinking outside the box. What does this Power Rush thing do again? I don't think I've ever used it. Oh my gosh, +4 to attack and defense? Holy cow, we are so back. This man is about to be deleted. And with Crump on his final health, we get the Super Guard KO. Nice little callback to the tutorial fight. The run was getting a little easy at this point, so I decided to mix it up a little bit and try one of the remake's new features. Quick remake spoiler, if you don't want to see it, I'm going to go there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, you remember Prince Mush from Chapter 3? Well, now you can fight him in the remake. So I stepped up to the ring to fight him, and oh yeah, I got cooked. This guy is brutal. We're going to come back to this one later. And I needed a little break from fighting, so I went to the Pianta parlor and grinded for an hour to break this 500 feet line in the airplane game. I don't know if I was just doing this wrong, but I cannot even imagine how I would get any more distance at all. But once I finally did, it was time to hop on the XS Express. Most of this chapter has very little combat except the station, which just has these flying buzzy beetles which you can just use Thunder Rages on, or Gale Force, so let's just get straight to the boss. The boss has a lot of arms here, but again, Thunder Rage kinda goes crazy, it just one-hit KOs all of it. And with my newfound love for Power Lift, we do a whopping 20 damage with Yoshi's basic attack. Yeah, okay, why have I not been using Yoshi the whole time instead of Goombella? So we do this 2 more times, and bam, the boss is done. It's that easy. One quick trip to the Poshly Sanctum, and I realized that Vivian's Fiery Jinx isn't half bad either, and it clears out these boos without any problem, and we get through the easiest chapter yet. Really feels like nothing could stop us now, and oh hey look, another Power Plus B badge. Well, I guess I'll pick it up and use it. I also finally remembered to get the up arrow from Hooktail's castle, which I think I could have gotten like 2 chapters ago, so we are now doing massive damage with everyone fully upgraded. We exploit some ice weakness to fire with Vivian's Fiery Jinx in the ice area, and we get to everyone's least favorite quest in the game, finding General White. Although it's much better thanks to these more central fast travel pipes in the remake. And then it's to the moon! Moonclefts are a pain because I'm forced to use Bombast, which takes a lot of FP, but luckily it's still just a one-shot. And suddenly we find ourselves on another boss, Crump 2.0. And I really wanted to get this multi-bounce down, so we do a solid 22 damage here at the beginning, because Power Lift just goes absolutely crazy. But you know me, after that I miss 2 multi-bounce action commands in a row and do like absolutely no damage. But the game really likes messing with Crump, so it freezes his missile once again, And I go for a little rune powder action to stop the other hand because they do 9 damage, which we really don't want to be taking. And of course I only hit the frozen missile, which does absolutely nothing. And at this point, I realize Goombella's just not working out, so we bust out Vivian and take out those hands with a Fiery Jinx. But then we go back to Goombella again for some more damage, and I miss another multi-bonk. Like, when will I ever learn? I've lost track of damage at this point, so we get some FP and we Fiery Jinx again, and we finally finish off with just a normal Goombella head bounce because my pride is broken and I cannot hit action commands. But hey, it works, we made it through, it's fine. And with that disastrous boss fight out of the way, it's finally time to open the 1,000-year door. But not before a quick detour back to our old friend. Again, spoiler warning for remake content. Remake content coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, we're back to fighting the legendary champion himself. And armed with the knowledge of Super Guard being required to damage him, and the ability Power Lift, and Power Plus times 3, there is no way we can lose. And oh my gosh, okay, so we lost, but he used his super move and I didn't even know that was a thing. So, this time we're just going to put a lot of charge on Yoshi and just melt this health bar before he even gets to use that move. That's one more optional side boss down. And I guess we better go back to doing the whole saving the world thing. Here at the Shadow Palace, I learned that Yoshi's Stampede is pretty dang good at melting health bars, and that's without even using Power Lift. Oh, and yes, Gale Force still works consistently even though we're in the final area. Oh, and how about that? Another damage boosting badge. I mean, who needs defense on the partners anyways? But on to the endgame boss rush. First, we have to take care of Gloomtail, who we throw everything at. Charge, Power Lift, Stampede, but man, he is fighting back with some big damage. And Sweet Treat is not outpacing super well. And then he's charging up his special move, and things are looking dire, but an audience member gives Yoshi a boost sheet for free, and I decide to use one on Mario just to be safe. And oops, oh, well, I guess Yoshi would have killed him with that attack anyways, but surely I won't need that invincibility item later on a more difficult fight, right? Next up are the Shadow Sirens, and I go for a 50-50 stopwatch usage here, and I only hit the weakest of the gang, Dupless. Dang. But somehow Yoshi doesn't freeze to this mist attack here, so we get our Stampede off after powerlifting for an easy one-hit KO. We have got a build going. I was really worried about the shield that Grotto puts up during this fight, but it turns out we can just Stampede, get rid of the 4 Grotto X's, and he only makes 2 Grotto X's then per turn, and the shield won't activate as long as we keep deleting those 2 Grotto X's every turn. So really, we just keep the pressure on with Stampede, and he goes down without too much trouble. And we start off with the same strategy against Bowser, although I did forget that Kammy Koopa's in this fight, but thank goodness Stampede still hits her, even though it only says it hits ground enemies. That's just a lie, I don't know where that comes from. Things are looking a little dire later on in this fight, but then I noticed I got this point swap in my inventory, and a convenient 1 FP. With a little switcheroo on Yoshi's health and my FP with point swap, we've got a Peril Yoshi ready to wreck house. Just look at all that glorious damage. Poor Bowser never stood a chance. And now, the final gauntlet, as the Shadow Queen resurrects, and guess what we gotta do? Yup, it's Powerlift Stampede strats for the win. Until we get to the part of the battle where we suddenly can't damage the Shadow Queen, and we're just trying to survive until phase 2. And this goes on a little longer than I thought it did, and Mario gets pretty low, but Lucky Day helps us dodge plenty attacks, earning his keep as the best badge in the game, which we got back through the lottery in Chapter 3. Forgot to mention that one. Oops. One wholesome cutscene later, with the whole world cheering us on, and we're ready to take down the Shadow Queen once and for all. Hit her with that Stampede, Eggman, and again, and power boost. I better use my last boost sheet just to be safe, and oh hey, look at that. Bingo! We got a full crowd for the finale. Let's big up Yoshi and hit her with one last Stampede. Huzzah! That's one Shadow Queen in the books. And although the world is saved, I can't help but think there's one more challenge that awaits us. Yeah, let's do the Pit of 100 Trials real quick. I'm sure it'll be fine. And I finally learned of another ability I've been sleeping on in the pit, Clockout, which is essentially a free timeout item. But mostly we carry with Yoshi and Gale Force. And before I knew it, my badges were all set. And I even found another Mega Rush P in the pit. How about that? But it's time for a grand finale. We got the power lifts, the power punches, the continuous FP restoring, and the damage is racking up fast. Thanks to Feeling Fine, we take none of the negative status effects, and just look at how much stuff is on the screen right now. We are fully built and ready. Our lucky day and pretty lucky badges are keeping us from barely getting hit at all, and we go in to deal the final blow and just 2 damage short. But wait, what's that shy guy doing in the back? He's pulling a rope and the final blow from the unexpected fork. Put a fork in this dragon, he is finished. And with that, we are truly done. But what's that? There's another secret post-game boss they added? Well, better run away if you're scared of spoilers, but who could it possibly be? No, it can't be. But hey, he's got less health than Bonetail, so how bad could he really be? I mean, I took out like a third of his health at once, and oh no, he can full heal like every turn. Well, I mean, it's just a battle of attrition. I just have to hit him more. Oh no, my multi-attack is terrible against this boss and just gives him more ammo to fight back against me. Like, look at how many attacks he's doing in one turn. My lucky badges are really pulling their weight now. And yes, the Fork of Prophecy is telling me to finish him off. Go, Yoshi, go! And with that, we are truly finished with the No Mario Damage Challenge. And we can say with certainty that you can not only beat Paper Mario, but also 100% it without ever attacking as Mario. And I challenge you to play some of your favorite games in new and unique ways too, and let me know if there are any challenges you think I should try in the future. I had so much fun with this one, as it kind of recontextualized the whole game for me and saw it in a new light. But for now, that's all from me. I've been Drenkaz, and I'll see you later.